Well, it's me again, and this is my podcast and my world, where I take you along on an adventure where we get to explore everything and anything that goes on in my mind. Oh boy, is it random, is it crazy, it's nuts, it's all over the place. So grab yourself a cup of coffee and let's have a good time. Well, hello there, friends. It's me again. Ha-ha! I think I'm on episode 56. What do you think? Oh, so some time has passed, and as you all may know, good news has happened. So we bought a house. Well, actually, we didn't buy it. We don't really own it. We're just making payments on it for the next 30 years before we get to own it. Instead of paying a landlord, we're paying a bank. Yay! But we get to have a place to live and be able to do what we want to with it, as long as we continue to make those payments, those precious, precious payments. So I have purposely kept a lot of people out of the loop of us buying this house. So we've been trying. Let me back up a little bit here, and I'll explain why I've kind of not given a lot of information out. 11 years ago, we tried to buy a house. Actually, it's closer to 12 years ago now. 11 and a half years. We tried buying a house, and then, of course, the market crashed, and we lost our house. And we've been trying ever since to buy a house. And this time around, we started the house buying process, and we kept putting offers on houses that were in our area that came up, and 9 in total. We put 9 offers in total on houses. Bidding wars and all kinds of craziness. And 8 of them just fell through. And one reason or another, it was just this constant battle. And we just kept getting outbid. Way, way more than the property was actually worth. There was almost nothing on the market. We would wait a week sometimes before even one house was to come available, and then in our price range, and then when it did, it went. To give you an example, I probably told you about it already, but I'll tell you a little bit more about it if I think. Haha. So there was this house that was perfect as far as location was concerned, but not perfect as far as as far as what it had, amenities, what it had available. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, 815 square feet, and very, very small. Huge yard, very large yard, about the same size yard as what we have where we're at now, but 815 square feet. We couldn't, and only 2 bedrooms. You know, there was no room for expanding, no room for adding on. That would have meant that the kids had to share a bedroom, and of course, guess what we got coming here in a few years? You know, adolescence, puberty, blah, blah, blah. They have to have their own room. That's all there is to it. So that house wasn't going to work. However, we learned something very special about that house. Well, about the process of buying a house, thanks to that house. That's what I should say. They were asking $149,900. That's what they were asking, $149,900. So it went on the market at 8 o'clock in the morning. My wife was there at 11 o'clock in the morning to do her showing. There were 12 showings before her. And that day, after her, there were 30 showings. Okay. Well, the house, they didn't take it off the market, but it was under contract the next day for $197,000. This is a $150,000 house for $197,000. That is insane. Small house. It was on a busy street, and it's absolutely insane. Well, we kept seeing that kind of thing happen over and over and over and over again. We continued to get outbid like crazy. There was one that we did, and I don't ever do I recommend going through an online bidding auction thing. But there was one house we looked at where it required, in order for us to put an offer in, we had to put a minimum of $500 down the same time that we put the offer on it. So like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. So we did that. And then we put our offer in. And it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It was an okay house. Not in love with it. Matter of fact, kind of unmemorable, to be honest with you. But they were asking $185, I think, for it. And we offered $190. And which was like $10,000 over what we were willing to pay. Really, it was. And the next thing happened, the bid came in, and a bid came in, and a bid came in. Well, what we learned from that was, because it was online the way it was, everybody could see how much we bid on the house. So it was really more of an auction. The final, and there was like 4 people in total that actually bid on the house that we're aware of. But the very last, literally down to the last second, okay, before it closed, because there was a time frame and like a clock counting down, and then it would take whatever offer was the highest. Right at the very second, another offer came in for $100 more. Seriously, $100 difference. It was insane. And that house went for like $260, I think is what it went for. But it was only valued at $185,000. I mean, it was just crazy. So when we got to house number 9, the one we end up buying, the house was scheduled to go on the market 2 weeks before our offer was accepted. We found out about the house. Kind of cool. The listing agent was in the same office as our agent, and so they had a meeting, and the listing agent announced that he was putting this house on the market and what it was going to go for and all this kind of stuff. And so our agent told us about it, and we said, okay, well, let's put it on the market, let's give them an offer, $5,000 more than what they were asking, hoping that they would take our offer and not put it on the market. So we did, and the next thing you know, bam, they accepted the offer. And oh my gosh, the excitement was amazing. Both the wife and I, we were in tears. We couldn't believe that somebody accepted our offer. It was fantastic. The fight and the struggle that we went through was almost over. And of course, if you ever bought a house before, it's never ever finalized until you actually get keys in hand. Anything can happen along that way, that process. For some reason, it didn't pass inspection, or it was way underbid on the appraisal, or whatever. the seller decides to back out. There's so many different reasons and things that can happen and do happen. So we weren't counting our chickens, because the eggs weren't hatching yet. And then we closed. And it was surreal. So much so that I still don't think it has sunk in. We have closed on the house, I would say I think it's been almost 3 weeks ago now. We still aren't living there. We are doing some renovations to it that are a must in order for us to live in it. The house is a 1951 a rancher. It is 2,100 square feet. Absolutely a beautiful home. But the owner is the second owner. And he inherited it from his dad. His dad is the one who built the house, or at least lived in it when the house was built, and it really hasn't had any modifications to the home. I'm assuming, because I'm ripped a lot of this house apart, I'm assuming that at some point in time, probably in the 80s, there was some things done to it that changed it, and that kind of thing. Like, for instance, I think there was new carpet put in and new countertops in the kitchen, probably new kitchen sink. That kind of thing was done. A couple of little bathroom, changes and modifications, but for the most part, nothing really was done with it. There was a lot of cigarette smoke damage, and there still is a little bit downstairs in the family room. There's a lot of cigarette smoke damage, which is still going to require a lot of washing walls down and kills and that kind of thing. So we're getting there, just trying to take it one step at a time and get things done. The process of doing all of this is, I'll tell you, it really puts a lot of stress on relationships. Any type of remodeling or renovating definitely puts stress on relationships. And from what I've discovered, if you don't do one small project and finish it before you pick up another project, then it can start to feel overwhelming. And I think that has kind of been the case for both my wife and I. It is just starting to feel very, very overwhelming. There's so much that's going on all at once, and you're watching your budget, drift away, and there's still so much more that has to be done. We decided early off that we would start in one room and then move to another room and then move to another room, and I just haven't had a whole lot of time on my hands, unfortunately, to be able to do that. I have been working, 12-hour days every single day for the last couple of months. Monday through Friday, but I'm working 12-hour days, and it doesn't leave a whole lot of time to work on the house. So where we planned on moving into the house, like June 1st, instead it's going to be probably a lot closer to the middle of June to the 1st of July, unfortunately. I'm really trying to push hard and get what little stuff there is that needs to be done, And so we'll get there, just probably not as fast as I would ideally like, but we will get there in the end. We, like I said, we started on the bedrooms, painting and, trying to get them ready and prepped. Started with Dakotas' bedroom, getting his ceiling painted and the walls painted. And his room is almost completely done. His bedroom door still needs to be, it's been painted, but now it needs to be hung back up. And a lock, or not a lock, but a door handle needs to be put on it. And I think his closet still needs a little bit of touching up to be done. But other than that, his room is almost done. We're going to go from there into our bedroom and finish touching it up. And then when that's done, we're going to move into the next room and the next room and the next room and the next room. So I'm going to be concentrating this weekend primarily on getting that done and getting working on those bedrooms, getting those bedrooms finished. And then I'll start working on the hallway again and get that finished. And then go back to the living room. There was some paneling on the living room wall, and I ripped the paneling off the wall, assuming that there would be some drywall behind it. Because when I took the paneling off my parents' house, there was drywall behind it. And when I took the paneling down, there was some drywall, but it was little pieces and patched, and it was like basically scraps. It wasn't a finished wall. So I took the opportunity to rip it down. There was no insulation, so I went ahead and put insulation up and insulated the wall. The wife and I, we discussed it, talked about it. And we decided that we wanted to put a couple of sconces on the wall and be able to put an outlet for the TV above the fireplace, as well as a USB, as a HDMI outlet, so that we could run the Roku or whatever through it. And so that is what we've done and what we've been doing. A lot of work has gone into it. I did a lot of drywall work and stuff years and years and years and years ago when I worked for Habitat for Humanity, and I did that for about 5 years. But it has been easily probably 17 years, 20 years, something like that, since I've done drywall and mudding. And so it's been kind of like a learning curve again. I've had to retrain myself on how to do it. And that's been crazy. Absolutely insanely crazy. So I am kind of struggling through it. I kind of need to take a little bit of a break with the wall, just because it's getting monotonous and boring, and it's definitely time to start doing something else. So, all right, well, that was episode 56, and just talking about the house. I hope y'all keep listening, and I will talk to y'all next time. And until then, y'all have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you real soon. Bye for now.
This has been a Graham's World broadcast, brought to you directly from Graham's mind. So stay tuned, because there's more to come.